I'm not gonna say anything about episode 3 because I think the most important thing that happened is discovering that the grandma is actually a very, very attractive woman and she does not look like a grandma. So episode 4, we see it starts with Ken and Momo at the tunnel. This is the same tunnel where Ken lost his ding dong to the granny. And so they go back because they need to get the ding dong back. So they meet the granny. The granny appears as a huge, huge face, and she started moving towards them in the terms of wanting to eat them. They were though prepared for this, I guess. They knew from Momo's grandma that this granny, this particular demon, like challenges. She was known to be the fastest. That's it. So the Momo's grandma suggested Momo to challenge her to a race, and actually we discovered in episode 3 that the 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 people that have powers are usually cannot restricted to a certain area, so their powers can only work within a city because the power works in relation to a god or a spirit from that city, and once they leave that city the powers vanishes. So the plan was to move away from the city and get the grandma to move away, step out of the city, losing her power, enabling Ken and Momo to restrain her. The plan was to outrun her, which is crazy because this is a spirit, this is not a human thing. And okay, granted that both these, creatures, I'm talking about Momo and Ken, as creatures do have extra powers. Momo have some psychic powers from her probably mother's lineage, and Ken just lost his ding dong to this, I would say, grandma and perceived powers of the grandma. So it did seem like they were going to lose this battle, but in the end, they managed to challenge the grandma. The grandma accepted, not to my surprise, and they made this bargain where Momo and Ken would start running, and the grandma needed to count to 10 minutes before she would start running. But it was hilarious because then she started counting in a weird way. She started counting like 1 second, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 seconds, and things like that. And I'm like, what? That is actually quite clever because oftentimes when you watch anime and there's like bargain or you are making a pact with a creature that is not of this realm, you have to be careful when how you word the terms of the pact. So they obviously did not think this through. They just said count until 10 minutes and then you start running afterwards. And the grandma just counted, honestly, 5 fingers, the random numbers, 5 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and then she started running after them. Luckily, they did come prepared. They were wearing some attire that Momo's grandma gave them, which is like protective attire for, again, she's a shaman, so she knew what she was doing when she gave them the clothes. The granny was upset because she entered the Ken's body again and was struggling to control Ken's body, and actually Ken was grabbed her breasts, can I say breasts, and was biting it, and the granny tried to get him to release her breasts, but because Ken was wearing the attire, anti ghost attire, she struggled, so she entered him and was not able to exit because of the attire, and that was a trap that they set for her. Ken then transformed into the Ken monster and started running out of the city. From nowhere, we have this huge crab come out. And the crab was so funny because he just came out and started like screaming, and it's a huge, huge, extra large crab, and apparently just a spirit of some dead person that is attached to a place. But this crab is clearly attached to the granny, so try to save the granny. And yes, you have the crab following them, and they're running through the city. He uses his extra strength, so Ken has he can use his force to the max twice, and he did it once, and then he did it a second time again, both time trying to save their bottoms. And as if was not already tragic enough, they were followed by this crab. By the way, the granny is still trapped in Ken's body, and Ken is carrying Momo and they're running outside to get to the outskirts, exit the city. A bunch of people start running after them, and apparently the granny called for spirit help. She just asked for help for random spirits around the area, then possessed humans, and they also joined the crab, and they were running after Momo and Ken. So you have a bunch of random people running after them, a huge massive crab running after them, and then Momo challenged the granny again, and silly granny said accepted because she cannot forfeit a challenge. And this time around the granny was like, you know what, I'm gonna win anyways. I'm stronger than you, I'm faster than you, you better start running if that's what you want. You wanted to run past run out of the city, we are close enough, go for it, let me see you. But before she could say anything, there was a train passing by, and Momo can use her aura to grab things. So she used the aura to grab the train, and away she went. That was a surprise for the grandma, and she was running after the train. And Momo, threw out some physics or some, some fun facts. You know that train runs this fast. I think 200 kilometers per hour. Is that silly? That sounds like quite a lot. The granny was running 100 kilometers per hour, I think. Miles per hour, kilometers, I don't remember. But apparently the train was supposed to be running faster than the granny, and then the granny was like, silly you, because trains don't always run as fast as they can because curves. So the granny managed to get to the train, on top of the train. But again, that's the second trap, because Mama held her on the train, because the train was a train out of the city, So the granny was screaming, leave me, leave me, leave me. And Mama was holding her. And as soon as they get past the city's, is that a boundary? Is it a boundary? What do you call that threshold? They passed the city, so they went into another city. I don't remember what to call that. English is not my first language. And as soon as it did that, the granny exploded, and you saw a lot of young girls coming out of the granny. By the way, the granny entered the crab and started running after them in the crab. She became the crab, and a crab with legs, basically. It was a horrendous thing to see. So when the granny exploded, because she cannot go past the city, she cannot exit the city because she's a spirit that's created in that city and has power while she's there. She exploded. A lot of younger girls exploded out of her. Apparently, these spirits usually are caused by humans that have something that they need to unfinished business on Earth, and so this granny is unfinished business of some girls that were abused, like physically, like sex abused. So and this happened in that tunnel, which is why the granny is in that tunnel. So that was a bit sad. The show finishes there, not really, but they went to the tunnel to take some flowers, talk about the granny a little bit, the fact that she always shows up when girls have been abused, but they never really understood what was her role, if she was just crying over this girl or whatnot, but she was actually the spirits of these girls. And then they go back home and they start talking about what happened. And the scene, I have a scene where they started eating crab, and I'm like, I hope they're not eating the same spirit crab, because that is just disgusting. That spirit crab looks horrible. Look, these faces on it. These girls are something else. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review. I find it really funny how the granny was just not standing on business and always accepting a challenge. And it's really funny to me, this is from episode 3, the fact that I pictured the grandmother of Momo as a old person, but no, she is a very attractive woman. I don't care what anybody says, this lady is not older than 21. That's it. Anyways, Please follow and like, comment if you like the review, and come back for more. And I hope you're enjoying that da 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 da. Can never pronounce it. Da 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 da. That's it. Right. See you next time.